The game plan is brought to you by Max Jazz Games, whose game Kung Poopy you could be playing right now. Your gaming week is sorted with Kung Poopy, available now on the iOS App Store and potentially soon Netflix.
Send me a before and an after photo of before you've played Kung Poopy and one after you've played Kung Poopy, please.
Okay, so you want to establish a track record that it wasn't weird what you said last time. This is something you always ask.
Well covered. Well covered.
Your Honor, simply refer to the back podcast on Monday the 19th at 11:36 a.m. for
Objection, mistrial. I'll see myself out.
All right, the game plan is where we look at the games that come out this week so you can plan out your week in video games. Let's take a look at the releases this week, starting with Akiba's Trip, Hellbound, and Debriefed, coming to PlayStation 4, Switch, and PC on Tuesday, July 20th. Supernatural creatures are stalking the pop culture mecca of Akihabara, and they've turned you into one of them. Arm yourself with Octu-themed weapons and expose their skin to sunlight in this HD update of the first game in the Akiba Trip series. If you don't want to go all the way to Akihabara and instead you want to stay just at home to witness a classic JRPG, then check out Chris Tales, which is coming to PlayStation 4 and 5, the Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, Switch, Stadia, and PC on Tuesday, July 20th. Chris Tales is a gorgeous indie love letter to classic JRPGs with a new perspective. Peer into the past, act in the present, and watch as your choices dynamically change the future. All on one screen as you play. And I don't really know what that is unless you're throwing shade at the DS, which is the only other two-screen console I can think of, because the rest of the video games I play are all on one screen, including Death's Door, coming to the Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, and PC on Tuesday, July 20th. Reaping Souls of the Dead and Punching a Clock might get monotonous, but it's honest work for a crow. The job gets lively when your assigned soul is stolen and you must track down a desperate thief to a realm untouched by death, where creatures grow far past their expiry. Last Stop is coming to PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series consoles, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on Thursday, July 22nd. Last Stop is a single-player, third-person adventure set in present-day London, where you play as three separate characters whose world collide in the midst of a supernatural crisis. And speaking of a supernatural crisis, Orcs Must Die 3, coming to the Xbox Series consoles, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC on Friday, July 23rd. Slice, burn, toss, zap, grind, and gib massive hordes of repugnant orcs in this long-awaited successor to the award-winning Orcs Must Die series. Now you know what's dropping this week. Let us know what your game plan is. Peter Burns, what's on your plan for this week?
I mean, you guys have talked about Death's Door. I will play Death's Door, but the trailer that intrigued me most was Last Stop. It looks like it's probably going to be awful, but there could be some fun little cute surprises of storytelling on the way. All of the voice acting in this trailer is abysmal. It's that thing of like everyone's isolated and then they just put the lines together. It just doesn't feel connected, which is disappointing. But because the idea of it looks quite interesting. It looks a little telltale-y. Like there's these 3D models that kind of like you just tell them what to say next, I think will be most of the gameplay. But the story kind of looks quite intriguing of traveling through dimensional stuff. And we're in a multiverse world right now, aren't we? Everything's doing multi-dimensional. So that's the one I think I'll boot up first. Last Stop.
Cool. Banger of a song in the original trailer too. I don't know what it is. It's got this kick-ass cinematic trailer that I was like, oh, I'm far more intrigued by this than I thought. So yeah,
the art style of this game, I can never decide whether or not I like this, because this is the art style that lots of sort of like Netflix kid shows are taking. There's a new sort of like Jurassic Park one where it feels like this is the new. It's actually more affordable than you think to animate a show like this. But I don't know whether or not I'm into it or not. I go back and forth.
I would say the design is really cool. It's the lack of animation that makes it feel cheap.
The rigging is strange. It's like they haven't gone with mocap, and then whoever's done like the actual rigging of the models as well. It's a little stiff, and it's not stylized enough in the way that like Telltale had like really cool fluid limb movements and everything. Like everyone moved well, and that was hand animated, not mocapped. I'm pretty sure. Whereas this, like, there are some clunky in those cutscenes, some clunky character movements and stuff that you're right, Nick, do scream more of like a budget kids show rather than like this was a stylistic choice to make it feel designed and like
this run animated. In particular.
Yeah. But it's interesting.
Gus, what's on your game plan?
As Pete mentioned, you and I have played a fair bit of Death's Door, so while I'm keen to play that, I've not had my fill, but I'm ready to settle into that properly. I'm actually really keen to try Orcs Must Die 3, because I've always been intrigued by this series. I've never played a game in it, and I love the idea of it almost essentially being... I mean, have not played it before, so it's kind of like a tower defense manager. Almost.
It's tower defense, and you play as a hero on the field.
As the hero running around. And I love tower defense, and I've dabbled in first-person tower defense, which there's like a sci-fi one I played years ago that was really fun, where it's like, you're doing it all rather than from that top-down view. You're running around, managing it, and also contributing to it as well. So, obviously, I think I've seen people love this series, and I've been intrigued by it, but... this might be the one I go in on. There's just something satisfying about wiping out hordes of something that are charging towards you and being able to do it as well. The question I had for it is it just a single player experience, or do we know if it's got any form of co-op to it? Because that's something I'd really love to do in a game like this. Like, I love the idea of yelling at a friend or friends to run around and kind of deal with the horde or the mobs themselves as well. But this looks really fun.
It has 2-player cooperative multiplayer.
That'll do. That's enough for me.
I think it might. I don't know if it's local
co-op campaign, online co-op, 2 players.
Online?
Yep.
Yeah, cool.
Local I think that's how I might supported, so it's only online.
Okay, cool. That's how I might enjoy this game, I think. I might drag a friend along and just use it as a kind of like fun weekend. Brawler / bit of strategy in there. A few things proper commands to yell at rather than just playing like a Left 4 Dead or something like that. So, I'm going to go in on this, I think.
The series, I really like the Orcs Must Die series. It was, when the first one came out, it was just such a strong idea. It played pretty smoothly. This one's been out for a year on Stadia.
Yeah.
But
Are you serious?
I don't know anyone who's played it.
That rings a bell, yeah.
And Pete and I were talking about this a couple of days ago. Pete was like, they would just be hanging out for the day that the contract expires on the Stadia exclusivity.
Totally.
And then it's like you can finally properly release your game.
Yeah, because we're talking it released on like July 9th or something on Stadia. And so it's like it's only 2 weeks after you would imagine that 12-month contract wrapped up that they're like, it's roll it out. We need to get someone to play this thing. Because I reckon it's going to be fun. It's like I've always loved it. Like, we were treated to all these different types of games in Warcraft mods, Warcraft 3 mods, and StarCraft before that, but like Warcraft with tower defense had these kinds of things, and they're always so much fun to play. So I'm looking forward to playing this one. I've only played a little bit of Orcs Must Die 2, but it is like sad that this game has existed for a year. It kind of takes some of the wind out of the sails, but I think that the way that they're pitching it is like the game is now coming out, and they're kind of like they're pretending the Stadia thing never happened in terms of how they're marketing it now.
100%.
Which is the way to play it for sure.
Yeah, I'm really keen for that one as well. But I am also, I did not think that I was excited for this, but then the more that I've watched about it, there's something about Chris Tales that could be really good. I think I'm saying that correctly. I think it's Chris.
Cries.
Cries? Is it Cries? I don't know. Anyway,
no
Tales. I love the art style of it. I think it's got that cool sort of combination of really beautiful depth, but then has sort of almost like that. It's not papercraft, but sort of cutout characters on top. Really, really into that. I love games that manipulate time in the way that it's promising of the past, present, future, and the way that it sort of like says that it's going to ripple this stuff out in real time, so that you sort of like, I think the way that it works is that you've seen in some of these shots, there's like this triangle on the screen there. And I think that is you in a different time period. And so around you, other things are happening outside of that time. But I've heard really good things about people who've had hands-on preview access to this. So I think I'm really keen to check this one out. It's a small week of games, but they're all sort of indie games, and they like, between Orcs Must Die 3, Death's Door, which I recommend to everyone and I think is fantastic, and Chris Tales, that's 3 solid-looking indie games coming. And then Last Stop is kind of like a, hit or miss, and if it lands, then that's great. Yeah. I'm sorry to Akiba's Trip, which is the only game that we didn't mention. All right, so that is our game plan. Let us know what your game plan is by heading to our Discord. If you're not a part of our Discord, it's free to join, but you go to patreon.com/backpocket or backpocket.gg and become a member of the Patreon to unlock all the channels in that Discord and join one of the best communities on the internet. The Backpocketeer community is... I cannot tell you how phenomenal these people are, and they make our job such a joy, and it is so much fun hanging out with all of you in this Discord and talking to you. Oh, Gus disagrees.
Gus?
Send me a photo before and after you've joined the Discord, and if I see a big smile on your face, I'll know which one it is.
Good stuff. All right. No one sent pictures of themselves to Gus at all.